Hey YouTube, my name is Monroe. Welcome back. Today I am cooking my mushroom and kale ricotta toast. This recipe I remember coming across in a magazine years ago, and I found it was a great way to utilize any ricotta I had left over. So for this recipe, you are just going to need wild mushrooms. I have cremini mushrooms here. Feel free to use any mushroom of your choice. A bunch of curly kale, ricotta, garlic, any multigrain or country rustic type of bread, and salt, pepper, olive oil. And it's that simple. Just a big skillet. You'll want to bake off the bread, and that's really it. So let's clear my cutting board and let's get chopping. All right, I am just removing my kale here from the stems. Pretty tedious process. You definitely don't want the stem in this recipe. It will make your bite extra chewy, extra rough. All right, so take each mushroom and remove the stems. I know a lot of people like to save their stems and make stock. Feel free to do so. I typically will save them and they will end up just going bad, if I'm honest with you. And depending on how many people you cook for, mushrooms shrink down tremendously. So I have a pound of cremini mushrooms here, and I feel like that's enough for 4 people. I don't know if you can hear my dogs in the background taking something fierce out on her toy. I think she thinks it's dinner time. It is not for her. She eats twice a day, and it's almost like she knows exactly when dinner time is or when it's getting close. She is very food motivated. Can you hear her running around like crazy? I think she wants attention. I have a Chihuahua. She's a rescue. She's great. I don't know if anybody else has this experience with them, but she is the kind of dog, if I tell her no, she gets upset and she'll go take it out on a toy. So I just kind of bunch my kale together, roll it up, and I'm gonna just get it into bite-sized pieces. I don't really have this huge life-altering method for this. Just get it chopped. The kale too will shrink down quite a bit. So you're gonna have so much and you're gonna think that it is too much for the pot, but it won't be, trust me. My dog, she is having a good time. Back and forth, now she's in here. Hoping I drop something, of course. Oop, kale down. I wonder if she likes kale. She ran off with it. She eats in her bed. It's the weirdest thing. She'll grab a big mouthful of kibble, run to her bed, drop it, and eat it. Come back to her bowl, grab another mouthful, run back to her bed, eat it. I'm not sure if that's kind of how she learned to eat while being in the shelter. Each dog for itself. Last little stack here. Okay, so on to the mushrooms. I just like to have them and then thinly slice them if they are big. If they're smaller like this guy, I will just thinly slice it. There's no wrong way to do it. It's really just about preference. My dog is now staring at me. I wonder if she's upset by the kale. She's like, "Mother, how dare you give me salad?" I'm not that kind of Chihuahua. Is anybody else out there a mom to a rescue? I didn't know that it was going to be so great, honestly. I had grown fond of Chihuahuas. I was in a relationship where there were 2 Chihuahuas, and although they definitely got on my nerves at times. I feel like most of that was just the owner and like poor training choices. And so during this pandemic, I live alone, or at the time was living alone, and just felt like it was time. I wanted a dog. I wanted a rescue. And I came across Kala, my dog. I came across her. She was going by Angel on the Pet Finder website in Texas through an organization called Mutts and Meows. I didn't know. I expected a slight Chihuahua attitude, maybe not too fond of people, strangers, typical Chihuahua stuff I expected. Kala arrived and was anything but. She has zero Chihuahua personality in her. She loves people. She loves strangers. She doesn't bark. She doesn't bite. It probably took her 4 months before she barked outside in the backyard. She would just lay on the deck in the sun and be super quiet. And I think the more she got comfortable, the more she was like, I'm here, hear me. And I've had her, let's see, probably 8 months now. And it wasn't until recently that I was playing with her with a toy, just totally getting her amped up. And she growled at me and barked. Super playful and fun. But it was so not like her. And it was just like, wow, you're getting super comfortable. I hope you love your life. She also loves the dog park. She loves bigger dogs. She loves to be chased. She loves to chase them. She looks at other small dogs like they're crazy. But it's been great. She has brightened up my life so much. It's crazy. She filled this little void I think I had. Didn't know I had. So your mushrooms are gonna look like you have so much, they're going to just overflow the pot. But trust and believe they will shrink down. I'm in the process of editing some of my videos. I didn't realize how challenging it would be. I hope the finished content is what I envision it to be. Okay, so we have all of our mushrooms. I'm just gonna scoot them over. I like a lot of garlic. Everybody has their own preferences. I know that before I started cooking with a lot of garlic, I would use garlic powder, and it was a very soft, mild introduction into garlic and what became just an obsession. Garlic and mushrooms go really well together. So if you have no aversions, go out all out. I'm gonna use 4 cloves of garlic. Maybe 5. So you can either slice them really thinly to kind of play with the mushroom, how you prepared the mushroom, or you can just do like I do. I still like my garlic. I'm a texture person. So as much as I love garlic, if I crunch down on a big piece, the texture kind of just, it rubs me the wrong way. Similar to an onion. So if I can avoid that, that's great. So we're going to just get all our garlic in a little pile, mince it up super fine. They have in the grocery stores jars of minced garlic. If you just want to save time, go for it. I don't like to pay for somebody else to do my chopping. I love to cook and I enjoy this part of it also. And if my fiance is home, I may have a helper with the chopping. Okay, so there we have it. Follow me to the stove, we'll get cooking. I have my large skillet here cooking over medium heat. I've added a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to let that melt. Once the butter starts to pop a little, I'm going to add my mushrooms. There we go. So in go our mushrooms. It looks like a lot. I'm not going to add salt quite yet. Mushrooms are full of liquid and the salt will only bring out the moisture faster, which I don't want. I'm gonna move these around, get them coated with all of that flavor from the butter. At this point, I'm gonna go in with some cracked black pepper and a pinch of red pepper flake. Mushrooms are like a sponge. They are going to absorb all of that cooking fat really quickly. If you feel that your pan has become too dry, feel free to adjust the fat content, whether it's a little bit more olive oil or a little bit more butter. The mushrooms have been going for about 3 minutes. At this point, I'm going to add my garlic. If you add the garlic too soon, you could potentially burn it and it will get bitter. I sometimes will leave it sitting on the top so that it's steaming and heating up, but not yet touching that hot skillet. You can see already that there's so much liquid in the pan from the mushrooms. I feel like it's pretty safe to give it a whirl, mix in that garlic. There are few things that smell as amazing as garlic and mushrooms sauteing in butter. Add a little salt and pepper to this, serve it over a steak. Sounds like a good meal to me. I'm just going to give these another few minutes and start adding my chopped up kale. The mushrooms cooked for about 5 minutes total. Now I'm going to dump in the kale. I'm still not going in with my salt quite yet. All of that water that has pulled out from the mushrooms is really going to help wilt down the kale. So we're gonna let this go for a few minutes, about 3 to 5 minutes.
You want to stir this occasionally so that the top layer of kale gets wilted down as well.
This meal is amazing for that night where you just want to have a vegetarian meal, you want to cut back on your red meat, you are a vegetarian. It's also extremely versatile. This topping you can substitute with so many different options. You can do spinach and mushroom, you can do spinach and tomato, you can go anywhere with this. You have your bread as the vessel, you have your ricotta to hold it all together, and that's really all you need. Okay, while that is cooking up, I'm gonna just show you here how to prepare your ricotta. So I have my ricotta cheese here in a bowl and I just season it with salt and pepper. Pretty simple. Ricotta is super mild, it needs salt. I just give that a mix and that is done. Reserve for later. For your bread, again, I chose a multigrain bread. I'm gonna go ahead and slice it. I have my bread knife here. You want pretty thick slices. I'm gonna cut it here on a diagonal just so I can have bigger vessels to hold my filling. Perfect. So we have that all ready and I'm gonna toast that up. Now we are going to season with a little salt. Greens love salt. And a splash of white wine vinegar. You need that acid. Do a little taste test for seasoning. pinch more of salt, and that should do it. All right, let's get this plated. All right, guys, here you have it. My kale and mushroom ricotta toast. You can see I have a healthy smear of ricotta. On top of that, I layered our mushroom and kale sauté. I plan on enjoying this. Please like and subscribe. Leave any comments below of what you would like to see me cook. And tune in next time to see what I'm cooking.